Hello, thanks for joining. First time this year. Happy New Year to everybody. At least first time for me this year. Today we're going to talk about, what are we going to talk about today? Oh yeah, we're going to talk about Google Keep to some degree, and we're going to talk about dashboards. I just got back from a trip to, business trip to Idaho, and saw a couple of things. Saw a need for what we're going to talk about, and at the same time I saw a solution that came up literally when I was there. And so we're going to talk about that. So let me switch over here to screen share here. I hope everybody has a good beginning of the year, and we'll start with something that's pretty useful. So as you can see here, this is my Google Keep screen. And for those of you who don't know what Google Keep is, let's go ahead and switch accounts real quick here. We'll just switch to this account to show you. So real briefly, most of you probably already know what Google Keep is. For those that don't know, I keep finding people all the time that don't know. It's a free service from Google for taking notes and keeping track of lists. One of the greatest things about this particular tool, because there are a zillion of these things out there, is that it's extremely simple to learn and to use. So that's one of the biggest draws to using this service versus anything else. At the same time, it has a couple of features that make it absolutely incredible in terms of using it. So you have this, typically you have a problem where you either have features or you have ease of use. And with most software, the two are not congruent with each other. So if you have a lot of features, it's typically kind of complicated to learn how to use and use them. And if you don't have a lot of features, so it's very simple to use, then of course you don't have a lot of features. This particular piece of software, they really hit a real kind of sweet spot and did a phenomenal job. So for those who don't know what Google Keep is, I'll give a real quick intro before we get into the dashboarding part. So as you can see, it's got, pretty simple display. If you want to start a note, just a note with some content in it, you just click where it says up there, add note, and start typing. Typing whatever you like. And so it's as simple as that. If you want, you can add a title to it, which will show up in boldface. So the title goes here and is bold. So that's that. And then, of course, this part here, you can hit the return. You can enter more info, whatever you want to say, free form, as much as you want. You can't do formatting other than just putting spaces, but basically in terms of just taking notes, that's all it is. So think of it as a digital version of yellow stickies. And instead of putting all these stickies all over the monitor and your desk, which will eventually fill up anyway, and you can't find anything, this is a cool way to do it instead of that, because it looks similar to sticky notes, but at the same time, it's much, much more capable because it's available anywhere. You can access Google Keep on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer, no matter where you're at. It's basically tied to your Google account. If you have multiple accounts, you can have multiple Google Keep setups like that. And you can see that one of the things you can do is you can change background colors. You can see these are all nicely colored. And you can move them around for fun or for actual need. And so it's very, very simple to create these notes. They just get populated, on the page here. You can look at them using this kind of view, or you can look at them one at a time going down like this. So there's two different ways to look at notes. And so that's the basic freeform note. Also on the right side here, you can see it says new list. So if I click on the new list thing, then it allows me to add however many items I want to add, whatever they might be, milk, cookies, sales report, whatever you want to put in there, as many items you want, just keep hitting enter, just keep setting them. You can put a title here too, title as well, and then of course each of these list items you can easily move anywhere you want by just simply dragging. So that's one thing. Another thing you can do is you can, when you get things done, you just check them off like you normally would with the checklist of tasks or items, and it just puts all of them down at the bottom, crosses them out, and clearly indicates that they're done. And of course, I can bring it back up again by unchecking it. So it's very simple to maintain, very simple to add things. And then when you're done, you just click on done and done. So you can have lists, you can have freeform text, you can have different colors. Very, very simple to create, very simple to maintain. The biggest kick of this particular tool is the ability to easily find anything you want. So if I start typing something, it immediately puts in notes in my view that match this particular word. If I'm looking for the word check, there's the only one, and it highlights the word check right there. If I highlight, if I put in my name, it's got nothing. So it's pretty immediate. It doesn't really matter how many of these things you get on there, but it can find them very quickly, very easily. So with that said, let's quickly run through the options, what makes this very simple to use tool unique and extremely potent in some cases. What you can do is you can change colors. If you hover over the bottom of any of the nodes, you can see there are some toolbar icons here. And this toolbar allows you to do a few things. First, you can change background color by simply selecting it from one of these 8 colors. Okay, and that's how these guys have these different colors. So that's one thing you can do. Second thing you can do is you can archive a node. So if I'm done with this node, I can archive it, and it goes into archive. And now, of course, it's not on the screen in front of me. I can get back into it by clicking on the top left here and selecting archive, and now it shows me my archive node. Okay. Also notice that if I am sitting in my main display, think of it as kind of inbox and archiving in Gmail, same kind of concept. It's just a different spot where you're putting things out of your view, out of the way, but still available. It's not deleted. And you can delete notes too, of course. So if I type in the word, for example, like cookies, notice that it comes up and it tells me that this happens to be a node that's stored in the archive. So it's astute enough to look both in archive and in the main display. Okay. So that's the color and the archiving. Another thing, what really makes this program stand out compared to many other programs of this kind that are this simple and at the same time, in terms of capabilities, is these 2 icons here. First one is a reminder. So if I want, I can click on remind, and it's going to ask me if I want to be reminded at a certain date and time, which is very useful, or I can select a particular location. Because this app happens to be something you can run on both computers as well as mobile devices. So you can be running it on tablets, on phones. It basically looks virtually identical. It works almost identical. There's one little thing that's different about the mobile versions versus the desktop, but everything else, pretty much everything you see here, that's how the mobile operation works as well. Mobile version, I should say. And so it's for a computer, a standalone computer, this location is meaningless because your computer is in the same place. However, so if you're using mobile devices that have GPS built in, like your phone or a tablet, then it becomes a totally different ballgame. That what it means you can come up with a list of things, and then you can be reminded about that list of things at the location of your choice. For example, let's say you come up with a shopping list in your company where you buy things on a weekly basis at, I don't know, at Costco or something, at Target, doesn't really matter. So what you can do is you can set up these notes and put reminders in there for reminding you when you're at that particular Costco or Target location. And that way, whenever you actually make it to that store, that's when these reminders are going to come up on your device and remind you that you need to buy this or you need to buy that. And that's very potent, very useful, because reminders are great for dates and times. Unfortunately, sometimes we can't keep our schedule so rigid. So what happens is you're putting all the stuff you want to buy at Costco, and you're thinking, I'm going on Friday around 3 o'clock. So you put all this stuff and you say, remind me of Friday at 3 o'clock. And then Friday at 3 o'clock comes and you're sitting in the middle of a meeting. All these things pop up, but you're not anywhere near Costco at that point. And that's where these location-based reminders are extremely handy, extremely useful. And so you can just put in location, or of course, if date and time is the one, then you simply click select from a calendar date and time, select either a specific time or one of these times, click remind me, and then it's going to say that you're going to be reminded on this date at this time. Very handy. So that's the reminders part. Okay. Also, you can also, from the left side here, you can pull down a menu and go look at all of your reminders too. So, if you want to see what your reminders are all about, it will show you all the cards that have reminders. So it's pretty slick. And reminders come up on your phone just like any reminder notification, and it's great. Works really well. So the last item they've added recently, which was when I was in Idaho actually, is ability to share your notes with other people, and you can share it on a node-by-node basis. So you can really get it really detailed. And so over here, if you click on the little guy, you're able to put an email address of a person, whoever you want to share it with. No, I'll just put in my own deal. For example, like that. And now my other account, so I got, this is 2 different email accounts. Now it says that this is the owner of this note, and then sharing it with this person. And if I click on save, then it's going to go ahead and show me a little icon. You can share with as many people as you want. And now this note can be changed by anybody who this note is shared with. Okay? And so if I jump from this account back to my main account, it's going to flip gears here in 1 second. And as you can see, there is the same note right here. And if I use this account here to change add more text here, for example, on the first line, so that's done. If I jump back to my other account, you can see it's that quick. I mean, it just does it almost immediately. In terms of, oops, I'm sorry, I didn't jump accounts. Let's jump accounts. See, there's add more text. That's the text I added on the other account. So basically, both people can maintain it. And when they actually put something in there, notice that the gradation of color here is not a solid color like these notes, but it's graduated, meaning something got changed by another person potentially. And so when you click on it and then click back, then once you looked at it, it's solid color again. So it gives you a little visual clue as to that something got changed by whoever you're sharing it with. So on the mobile version, the only other thing that I'm going to mention is that on the mobile version, you can also add voice notes. You can record through a microphone in the phone or a tablet. You can record something and then going to store it as part of the note, and it'll also transcribe it, and you can look at it and listen to it. You can look at the text it transcribes, and you can also listen to it, which is pretty handy. On this version, you don't have this option. Another thing you can do is you can also create notes with images. So if I wanted to, for example, add an image here, all I have to do is click on the little image icon, and you can add 1 or more images, doesn't matter how many. And so if I take this picture, for example, drop it in there, now this particular note has, maybe not, let me try it again. That was the wrong type, I guess. There's no reason there. Let's try something else here. As it's uploading the image, it takes a few seconds, and then you will see it ghosted like this. And then once it actually uploads it, then it's going to be solid, normal color right there. And so now you have this image, and you can add more, and you get the idea. So some can have images, some can be without images. You can have voice notes. So very easy to set it up in terms of putting these things in. You can see you have fairly few options, but very potent in terms of how you can make it work. So going back to our conversation, the topic at hand here, and if you want to delete note, you just click on delete like this. For the purposes of running a project, for example, what you can do, and this would be useful for just about any business, is you can create a note. And one of the cool things about the search they have is you can search by not only text, but you can also search by any of the items here. For example, you can search lists only. You can search voice, look at your voice notes. You can look at notes that have images. You can search only things that have reminders, and you can only search things shared with a certain person, for example. So you just simply click them on and off. You can also search based on the category they're in. For example, if you want to use colors for categories, like if I switch to my main account, just to show you, because I have pretty much all the notes there, my business cards I usually scan, and you can, mobile apps allow you to scan any kind of graphics directly into Keep. So my business cards are orange. And so if I click on search and select only orange color, you know, that immediately pulls up a bunch of different business cards. Okay, there's all the business cards I have. So I just simply scan them. Notice that the quality on these doesn't really have to be anything stellar, because one of the, again, killer things you have about Google Keep is the ability to have an option called grab text. When you're looking at any node that has any kind of graphics, it gives you a menu option down below that says grab image text. And so what I can do is, if I get rid of all this information here from this node, okay, you can see that this node has nothing but the picture. Okay, note that if I start typing and looking for the word Mike, it comes right up, even though I don't have any text here. The reason is because Keep allows you to do search in graphics, search for text in graphics. In other words, it does optical character recognition, or OCR, on the fly, which is also pretty amazing for a program like this. And so it's automatically built in. So you don't have to have the text. You can just scan graphics, and it will still locate the text within those graphics when you search. You know, I can just as easily type in the word vacuum, and we'll come up with the word vacuum. Type in the word, for example, Kirkland, then it's going to come up with Kirkland. Notice that because I have the orange selected, the only part that comes up, any things that come up, are only the ones that have orange background. So I'm only searching for my business cards, because I know that all of them are orange background color, and I'm looking for a specific word like Kirkland, and all this stuff comes up. Okay, if I type in Kirkland and then I type in the word guy, then only this will come up. So it's extremely potent. It's very cool how it's able to discern all of this. And then the option that I mentioned to you before, the grab text, if you want to have the text, you can. You simply grab the text and say grab image text, and everything on that card will be put in here, and you can see it's very readable and usable and pretty cool. So from that standpoint, it's also a very useful tool to be able to do OCR like this from the card. So again, the topic today was dashboard and Keep. And so what I was thinking that businesses could do, there's many different options. So just kind of bear with me here, and I'll explain what I mean. What you can do is you can go here and you can set up a category or a project, let's say a project, where each project is going to have a different color. So you identify, let's say, that your project one, we'll put in the word projects here, and we'll say that project one is blue, and project 2 is yellow, and so forth. So you get the idea. You put all these different projects, you assign different colors, so you come up with kind of legend. You know, if you want, you can use the word legend in this thing. Just put the word legend here. Okay, so we got all these different projects. You know, 1, 2, and you can have, like I said, if you use colors, you can have up to 8 potential different projects. So it would be red, and just so we have a few more, project 4 will be orange. Okay, and then we'll make this guy background, and this will be white, so we don't have any color on it. And so in case you forget, this shows you what the different projects mean. And so what you can do then is you can set up nodes that would represent people. And so, for example, we can put, this will be a list that we're going to do for project 1, and this is going to be assigned to, let's say, we're going to do, come up with visual design, build the UI, Develop 3 prototypes. Beta test 2 weeks, and so on. So let's just say this. So this would be our project 1 would be blue, and this is going to be web redesign. For example, it'll be the project, and we said it was going to be blue, so we change it to blue. Okay? So now we have a blue card, checklist, that. And this is going to be handled by a, as an example, right? Then we have another card we set up, which will be handled by Mindy. So this would be Mindy. I don't know what she's going to do, but we'll give her a few things to do. And you just set up a list, basically, of things she's supposed to do. Bring coffee, or let's say buy food for lunch meeting, for coffee, and get some pastries, and answer questions, and clean up, whatever. Mindy is doing a lot of work today. And so this is going to be part of the project that's going to be yellow, let's say. Okay, so the second project. Changing colors to the wrong things. This is going to be yellow. Okay. And we'll do one more. So we'll do orange, we'll do I don't know what we're going to do with another project is doesn't really matter. So item 1, item 2, whatever it is. We can always change it to something else. And this would be miscellaneous items, Jack. Okay, and so this would be 4, orange. The idea here is that you really right now have, and this, the idea here would be that you would share it with Mindy at pcs.com. If she was here, she's not here, but it doesn't matter. And then we've got, this would be, actually it should have been Jack. Doesn't matter, you get the idea. You put in the right person, obviously, in place. So this would be Mindy. And we said this is going to be Jack, not Mindy. And this is going to be Joe. So we share it with Joe. Again, keep in mind you can share it with multiple people. It doesn't have to be just one person. And so now what you got is you have, you know, very short amount of setup. As you can see, it took us a couple of minutes to get this set up. And now you actually have ongoing list of things that you need these people to do for these projects. If you needed to have more than, for example, if you're looking at multiple things to do for a project that's blue here for Joe, you could potentially have, you know, for this project 1, you could potentially have additional nodes. So you create another node. And this is web redesign. So look at WordPress templates on Theme Forest or whatever. And you know, just you can put in free-form text in terms of things you're trying to do. And again, you share it with the right people, and so you wind up having all these different things linking. I mean, not linking, but they're for the same project. So you can easily go and look at all the project 1 stuff, which would be blue, and there's all your nodes for this project. And you can see, not only have the nodes for yourself, you can also have nodes for other people. So essentially have the dashboard part comes in where you can quickly look at your whole organization, and you can see quickly on the screen all the different things you're working on, right? And each one of these has its own set of items. And then as things get done, they get checked. So, for example, this happens to be Mindy that's in charge of all of these items. When she gets done, she clicks on this, she's done with this, she's done with this. So at any point in time, not only she can look at this and do this, but you can do the same thing. So as the manager of the project, you could be looking at various people located anywhere. It doesn't matter where they're located. They could be located in your neck of the woods. They could be located in another city or another country. It doesn't really matter. But the bottom line is you and that person or these people are able to look at the same set of instructions or commands or items or tasks or whatever you want to set up. And then as things get done, you as the manager can quickly look and see how much of the stuff they got done. And at the same time, they, as executioners of these tasks, can mark them accordingly. And either you or them can add additional items, move things around in terms of priorities. All that can be done. So it's like you're sitting looking at a dashboard, and all of your different things that are going on can be easily seen. And if you break the projects into the colors like I did, then you can have any number of these nodes. You could have each node for a different person. You can have each node representing a different project potentially for the same person even. But the idea is you can segregate things by using these color backgrounds, and at the same time using the sharing capability, and you're able to really kind of see in a dashboard manner where things are. So you look and see, okay, Mindy, she's got these 2 things done. Looks like Jack hasn't done squat yet. The next thing you know, when you look at it, it shows like this. So Jack did get 1 item done, so he's good. And perhaps Joe got this and this done, these 2 items here, and you can see where Joe is at. So as things get checked off and things get added and deleted, you can do that. Of course, don't forget, every one of these things can potentially have photos too. So if I wanted to add an image, for example, or several images, I could easily do that, and you can have 1 or more images be part of the mix. So if you need to have visual information to go with that, you can have that. If they use mobile devices, they could have some of these nodes have actual voice recordings. So somebody is somewhere on the site doing something, you want them to take some notes, they take notes using their phone, they just basically speak into it, so they don't have to type, make it easier. And all of that is available as well. So you have a combination of this media-rich environment where you can have pictures, you can have recorded sound, you can have text, you can have lists. Very easily done, as you can see. I mean, it's not rocket science at all to use this thing. And you have a really good picture as the manager of managing all the stuff. You're looking like at the dashboard of all the things going on, and then manage it however you need to manage it. And of course, when you get done, let's say that this project is completely finished, then you simply take this item and you just dump it into archive, and now that particular thing is out of your immediate view. It's still available to you. You can still find it. You can still search for any of this stuff. But this way, you're only looking at the currently pending things, and you can see where they're at. And so, like I said, think of it as a dashboard for tasks and notes, and you can have many of them, and you simply break them down either by people or by groups of tasks or by projects, whatever makes sense to you. And you have this dashboard where you can easily monitor everything and change things, and they can do it, share with people, and it's a really handy way. So if you extrapolate it further and say, okay, what else can I do with this thing? Well, if you understand the basic concept here, which isn't that difficult, then the next thing you can do is say, okay, can we possibly use this for something like a CRM? Absolutely. If you're looking for customer relationship management and you don't want to use some overly complicated, you want something fairly simple, and you're already using Keep and you like Keep, then you can set up a bunch of nodes, 1 per contact. So a new contact comes in, you go ahead and simply add the information. So this would be, let's say, put in my name here, it'd be the name of the person, and then you put in the whatever additional nodes, maybe their address, phone number. So I put in phone 20, let's say you put in, if you need to have their email address, you can put that in there. So it's not any more or less work than if you were using any other kind of program. But what makes nice, what reason this is nice, is because what you can do here is things like email addresses, for example, become links. And so automatically, you don't have to make them. So if I click on go to link, as you can see, it'll jump me right to my email program, and it'll put, as you can imagine, that particular email address into the to field. So I'm ready to start emailing this person right from there. You can also put in, let's see now, you can also put in additional information. Let's say you take a picture of their house, maybe, and or several pictures. So I'm going to just put a couple of images of cakes here. With a couple of images in there, so we get a couple of pictures there, and we can add any additional information if we scan their business card if we need to, whatever information you want to keep track. And then of course later on, after you put the initial contact in, then you can put in information about that they've been contacted on 1/19/2015, and they said that they might be interested, but at a later date. So follow up on 3/19/2015, and you just basically leave it like this. So later on, what can happen is, let's say you're done with this note, and you have all these. So as you can see, it looks decent, but that more importantly is you can just go ahead and do a search, and you do a search for my name. As soon as you start typing, it immediately starts coming up with all the nodes that match the criteria. And because all of these are shared with me, that's why it comes up with all of these too. Let's go ahead and get rid of these shares. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to get rid of these nodes, basically. Delete this one too. Okay, so this is one contact for CRM purposes, and then of course I can go ahead and we'll do this contact, do it differently, do Bugs Bunny, and this would be phone 123.123.4567, and address 123 Daffy Lane, Midtown, California, whatever, and so on and so forth. And contact on today's what, 21st, 2015. Definitely interested. And follow up on 3/19/2015, or let's put it in 2/19/2015. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so similar kind of deal. You put in all the relevant information. You put in their picture, if that's what you want to use. Whatever information you need to put in there, and then you have a very easy way to track all this stuff. Because you have all your contacts right there in this one list. Of course, it's going to keep growing, growing, growing. And then you come in every day and you're doing a search for, let's say today is the 121. So if I do a search for 121, it immediately will come up and this is the note. But it says is my contact day. So what I'm looking for is let's say we come in on 3/19. And then you can see it says follow up on 3/19. So I know I'm supposed to follow up the guy today because today's 3/19. So this way you can actually search for today's date, and it shows you all the nodes, and any of the nodes that says the word follow-up, or you can actually put in search follow-up on whatever, then it's going to show you just cards for that particular day, and you know you need to contact the people, and then you simply add information as you talk to them. You know, ready to buy, will fax payment details later. Okay, and that's it. I mean, it's as simple as that. So this way, you're able to set up a mini CRM system right there within Google Keep, and you can potentially identify, for example, you can use the colors, background colors, to identify the differences between people who are pending prospects, who are interested prospects, who are buyers, who are already bought. So you can use the colors for that kind of segregation, differentiation. And at the same time, you have all the information there. You can easily do a search, find any of these people at any time. And there you go. You can use Google Keep for a complete and full contact relationship management. And if you think about what I showed you, and if you think about the possibilities here, you can see that there is many things you can potentially use this for, using this very simple application available on all the devices, and you can share, and you can, I mean, all these things basically that I mentioned are just extremely potent features, and I'm sure you can come up with creative ways of using those. So if you have any questions, you're always welcome to contact me on Google+. You can email me, whatever is convenient for you. And if you have any specific questions about any of the apps or some needs for your business, I'll be happy to do whatever I can to answer them. With that, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time, and I will see you next time. Bye.